we long for that human connection, right? We need it. I like being around people and especially creative.
When you can find a creative who can say something that you thought, oh, I thought it was only me, or it could be something that your inner critic was always calling you up on. And when you find out that you're not alone, then you realize there are either ways to solve it, walk past it, celebrate it, but you don't know that you can do that until you can find community that you can find that camaraderie.
It is. And it's like, oh, I needed that today. Oh, I just needed to be with that person.
Welcome to the BDI Create Today podcast. This is a podcast where we uncover and discover the who, what, where, when, why, and how you can be creative or have more creativity. And together we'll explore the extraordinary impact creativity can have in your life, in heart, mind, body, and soul. And if we haven't met yet, I'm Beth Buffington, a licensed artist, digital illustration instructor, and a creative coach living just outside of the Windy City, Chicago. But mostly, I'm someone who is curious about how creativity can weave its way into nearly everything in our lives. Each week, we are going to look at one or more of the sparkly facets that make up the ever-changing kaleidoscope that is creativity.
Welcome to another episode of Create Today with Beth Buffington. Today we have a very special guest to come and talk to you about their creativity. Today I've got Stacy, and she's going to give you the correct pronunciation of her last name. But I've got Stacy, one of my students that has been with me for a while now. She came to learn the art of Procreate. She joined the visionary group. She's been in the membership, and I have just been enamored by the work that Stacy's been producing, that I thought it was a good idea to bring her on the podcast and let her talk to you about her creativity. So Stacy, welcome. I'm so glad to have you here today.
Oh my gosh, thank you so much for having me. I've loved working with you the past, gosh, is it like 3-4 years? No.
Oh, I don't think it's been that long yet, but I know it's been at least 2. I know that. So maybe we're heading into our 3rd year, I think. So
Maybe. Time flies when you're
oh, I know. Time flies when you're creative. It really does. Stacy, first of all, tell everyone how to say your last name, because I always just butcher it. So I want you to say it correctly.
That's okay. I didn't say my husband's last name for a very long time while I was dating him, and I was down visiting a friend, or my aunt, I should say, who is 100% Polish. And I go, Aunt Vera, how do you pronounce this name? And I spell it out. She goes, oh, Stacy, that's an easy one. It's Kijewski. She was like, freaking Kijewski.
When you say it, that doesn't sound hard, but when you look at how it's spelled, that's when you get very anxious and you worry that you're going to just slaughter it and make you feel bad. So thank you for sharing that. So tell us a little bit about your background, because I know that you have a very interesting creative background. Please tell everybody like who you are and what you have done with your creativity up until today.
I live in Cleveland, Ohio. I grew up in Michigan. But so I moved to Cleveland originally because I got a job at American Greetings. And I started off in point of purchase there. And after a while, I started working for the Color Source Group, which is a group that we look at colors and we recommend colors to everybody. And then I got promoted and I went up to creative, where I worked on seasonal non-card. And I was there I worked for American Greetings for 9 years. And it was an amazing experience. I loved every minute of it. I'm very lucky that I got the opportunity to work there. I worked with a ton of great artists, a ton of great writers, illustrators, everything. It was a blast. And then I got pregnant. I had my first son. And he was born with a lot of food allergies. So I'm like, okay, I don't think going back to work full time is for me, because I just needed to be with him. So I decided to start freelancing. And I was still working a little bit with American Greetings, just doing some freelance work. But then I started sending out, actually snail mailing printouts of my artwork.
Yeah, that was the day.
Yeah. And just sending them out to a bunch of different companies throughout the work country, basically. And then I started getting a bunch of stuff like, oh, we love this piece of work. Oh, we want to license this, or we want to buy this. And it was awesome. Then I would do the final files for them and I'd ship it off on a little CD because the internet wasn't that great yet. So it was a lot of mailing back and forth, a lot of FedEx. I had a FedEx number to ship stuff off all the time. And I just kept pushing and pushing. And eventually I had about 25 clients at one point and tons of contracts coming in. And it was a great time. It was fun. I also did some stuff on Etsy. I sold a bunch of designs, mostly invitations on Etsy. I worked for an invitation company for a long time, and then they went, unfortunately, she got sick. So they sold the company and then it went gone. But so I'm like, oh, I'll start selling some invitations on Etsy, which was fun. But it ends up being a lot of work on
Yeah.
top of licensing artwork and then keeping up with that because they wanted to print it out. And so I'm like, have my kids out there helping me prep stuff with envelopes and everything because at this point they were a little older. But yeah, in also sold was like selling a bunch of artwork like on dish towels and on onesies and that kind of stuff. So I've ran the gamut of different things. I did like little art fairs too and sold on Society 6, which I still have a store, but I don't know what it does. I don't really keep up with it. It was
Mhm.
like at the very beginnings of it. And I had sold some local Cleveland type artwork on that.
You've been busy,
World,
very busy. So, how did you first discover that you had a passion for creativity? What did that look like for you?
oh gosh. My dad's side of the family was creative, very creative.
Mhm.
My grandmother, she was like incredible. She could hand stitch stuff. She sewed and taught me how to needlepoint. And I've always loved to draw. Getting that box of crayons. Remember, like when the 64 pack first came out, it was like the best. Then I just kept drawing, and I used to do little cartoon characters and come up with little stories and stuff, just different things. And my teachers, I think, could tell. And once I got to high school, she was my favorite teacher by far. Math was not my strong point, but art was.
Yes.
And Mrs. Petrov, she was awesome. And she's the one that kind of pushed me towards going into design. She even came up with like a little program. She's like, Stacey, I really think you should go into graphic design. I think you'd be great. She goes, you can draw, you have design sense. And so she came up with a little program for me and helped me go through different colleges. Oh, this is a good school. I wanted to go to an art school, but my dad was like, I think a well-rounded university would be good for you.
Yeah, yeah, I heard that story too.
I don't want my daughter selling paintings on at the gas station on the side of the gas station. I
Yeah,
don't know. You remember those days when they had the
I
gas station?
do. All right. So much of that was on velvet, I think.
It was on velvet, yes, it was. Black velvet, all over the sides of the corner gas stations.
Yeah,
Big
yeah.
artists. And then I ended up going to Bowling Green State University. And I have my Bachelor of Fine Arts in graphic design, but I also have like a minor in watercolor and like drawing. It was perfect. I get to do everything. I got to take sculpture and I got to, take jewelry making and enameling, and it was just a blast.
Yeah.
Then I also worked for the newspaper there, which was fun. And Beth, I'm sure you remember back in the day, you had to typeset things. You
Oh
didn't
yeah.
have
I
Macintosh.
totally do that. Yes. My first job out of college, the typesetter guy came every day to get the text that we needed to have typeset. And we would tell him the font we wanted. We had to tell him the size and the lettering and how wide our lines were. And then he would take it out, come back with all of the text. And we had to proofread it all and then send out edits. And it took forever to get a brochure done because you weren't typesetting your own information.
No, and it was not instant gratification. But when there was a deadline, you used to have to take that exacto and take the proofreaders would come in and they'd be like, No, that's spelled wrong. It's not an
Yes.
L. It needs to be an A. So you're taking this tiny little exacto, taking this tiny little letter out of a newspaper and cutting it out from a one scrap piece of
Yep.
putting it in.
Oh my gosh, I totally remember doing that, making sure that it didn't look a little cockeyed. And then you had to burnish it down really hard so it didn't pop off before it got to press or while it was going through the press systems. Oh my gosh, all the wax or the what was the spray fixative that we used to use that was so sticky?
Yeah,
Or
the
you'd
spray
go,
mount, but yeah,
there you go. Yeah.
it smelled so bad.
Yes.
And
Yeah.
then, yeah, that was fun. But in the other thing, I was also at that part of school where we learned also on the Macintosh, the little tiny one.
Yes, the Mac SE, right?
Yes, and it's and now in it was only black and white, and the screen was probably
Oh, tiny.
yeah. And so I was with my kids at the Smithsonian. I'm like, oh my gosh, there's the computer that I first learned on. I first was taught.
It's in the museums now. It's ugh, that's
It's in the museums. But
Tell me with your creativity right now, or as you became a professional artist, now that we're talking about computers. So what do you have any specific tools or rituals that you like to rely on that help you foster your creativity?
of course, my favorite tool is Procreate right now. Thanks
Yes.
to
Yes.
awesome teacher. It was interesting when I first started trying to figure out Procreate. I'm like, I really want to learn this program. It seems so interesting. And I was going online and I'm trying to figure out different things. And I'm like, oh, these people they're going too fast and I'm having to rewind and everything. And then I ran into your class, which was awesome. And you broke it down into tiny, perfect little chunks that was easy to understand and figure out and made me want to keep going forward and moving with it.
Yes.
Made it a lot of fun. It was easy
Well,
to understand.
yeah, Procreate is a very large program to learn, as we all know. But if, as an artist, what you need to do is figure out how to use Procreate so that you can just make your own art. And that's what I ran into when I was learning Procreate. You're watching various videos, but you always are not sure about a few things because you have these big holes in your knowledge. When I put together Learn the Art of Procreate, my goal was to piece it together so you could figure out what your favorite things were and what your techniques were, and you would learn how to make your own art. So, yeah, that was my whole idea behind Learn the Art of Procreate. And watching you on your iPad now is so exciting. Tell us a little bit about where you are right now with your Procreate art and what you're doing with it.
Right now, I got an agent, which I'm very excited about. It's the one art avenue that I haven't hidden. But after dealing with years of dealing with it on my own, I did go through a little creative slump because I think I was just so exhausted raising three kids, dealing with contracts and dealing with
Mm.
everything. And how many Christmas trees can I draw? How many snowmen can I go through? Like it became like overwhelming.
Let's take a look at that slump for a second. So, like, you were so busy and you were doing so well. What caused your slump and where were you in life? I think there could be a lot of people out there that will really be able to benefit from this story.
Yeah, I think there was a lot going on at that time. But yeah, my kids were getting older, so it wasn't like I could corral them with somebody that could watch them all the time. And I was always involved with them, like picking them up from school and picking them up preschool doing the drop-offs and the carpools. And then all of a sudden they're like, we got to go here and there and everything because they get older, they get more involved. And
Yeah.
that came into play. And then I unfortunately we had a death in the family. My mother-in-law passed away. And so that was a stem of it. It was like a lot of it, a lot of little things. And I was still doing freelance for some friends and invitations and that kind of stuff. And then all of a sudden it was just like, I just couldn't do it anymore.
Mm.
And I took a side job working. I'm like, oh, this could be fun because I love decorating. I love interior decorating. So I'm like, oh, I'll work for this like high-end furniture place near us. That became a little bit too much for me, working on commissions and working. unsales cutthroat kind of people. And I'm like, oh, okay, this is not for me. I need to go back into my art. And yeah, but yeah, this slump, it's a tough thing, but I got myself out of it. I started taking some painting classes again and then I ran into you.
And now for a word from our sponsor. And that's me. The holidays, my friend, they're just around the corner. So do something you love for yourself. Gift yourself a little something, something. Learn to draw on your iPad with Procreate, but do it festively. Sign up for the super fun December workshop where we're going to learn to draw delicious Christmas cookies and then prepare them to be printed as gift tags to use for all the presents you'll be wrapping this holiday season. Or consider giving these unique gift tags as a hostess gift or a stocking stuffer. There are so many great reasons you'll love this workshop. So hop on over to www.bdi-create.today and under menu up at the top right, choose events. It's going to take you straight to the registration page. And you can also find a live link to register for the workshop here in the show notes. So come and join me for a delicious event. It's calorie-free and it's a wonderful way to have some fun while you learn how easy it is to create with Procreate. Just go to www.bdi-create.today and register today for some festive fun with me here inside the Create Today community. I cannot wait to mix up some delicious cookies with you as we create today together. So something you said I think is so important. Often when you're in a slump, you do go somewhere else. And that I think is very healthy to do. It gives your brain time to clean up the things that were burning you out and give a space for some healing from areas that were causing you that friction. And then also, absence makes the heart grow fonder, right? So when you're away from your passion, you realize that it really is a passion that you can't just turn off like a switch. So that was a fun decade, but it's time to move on to something different. That your art will continue to call to you, even though you think you've closed that door, which sounds like what happened to you. I love interior design. I'll be creative doing that. And yet your drawings were still calling to you. And then I love what you did. And that was, I'm going to learn some new things. And I do believe wholeheartedly for creativity, the best way to get past feeling burned out or feeling like you're in a slump or you're overwhelmed is to go and do something that might be adjacent to what you're working on, but still in that same vein. So when you took your Procreate class, you were learning to draw in a different way. That's what I saw you do there, is continue your learning. Did that help you pop out of your slump? How long did that take?
No, I pretty much, as soon as I took the painting classes, then I said, I'm like, I got to get on this Procreate thing. And then I found you. And then it was like one of those, I just loved it. And I really do love to draw. This is really what I should be doing. I was giving paintings away for Christmas that year, and it was awesome. And I think that with the Procreate, because I was such a high power user with Illustrator and with Photoshop, and that made a huge change because I really wasn't upgrading my stuff because I was in that midlife slump, and going to Procreate and learning that whole thing was great. Yeah. And I've always been a person like, take a lesson if you want to learn how to play tennis, or you want to learn to snowboard, or you want to learn how to golf, or you want to take a lesson, learn how to draw. I'm a huge proponent of that. I do it all the time. I still do it. I love to learn new things, and so everything's good now. But yeah, but you always like learning new things.
Learning new things. And then I think too, when you can find a community of similar artists that you can meet up with and find out that you're not alone with where you are, if you're a creative and you've been really busy, or you're in a slump, or you're a creative that's very frustrated because you haven't been able to find the traction that you need, when you can find that you're not alone, because a creativity is quite often a very isolated experience. So when you can find an online community that has your people showing up to talk about what you're doing, or talk about your frustrations, talk about what your goals are, where you're headed, it's very helpful. Did you find that to be true?
1,000%. And I'm like, even with meeting with Lisa Murphy yesterday, I'm like, I'm always so grateful for those times that we have together because it really is a lovely community. And it's so nice, like you said, to be around people that are going through the same thing and just getting their advice. I'm like, oh, yeah, I feel the same way. Or,
Yeah.
oh, I think the same thing. And yeah, it's good because today with Zoom, it's easy.
It's so easy. Yeah.
We long for that human connection, right? We need it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like that. I like being around people and especially with
It
creative.
When you can find a creative who can say something that you thought, oh, I thought it was only me. That happens time and time again. I have that same thought. And it can be a celebration, or it could be something that your inner critic was always calling you up on. And when you find out that you're not alone, then you realize there are either ways to solve it, celebrate it, a really healthy thing to find those people and commune with them.
It is. And it's like, even I said yesterday, I'm like, oh, I needed that today. Like just the stage of, oh, I just needed to be with that person, which was
Yes.
nice. And I look forward to every time we meet because it's good. It's good for your brain and it's good for your mental health and
Yeah.
it's good for your mind, body, and soul.
Yes. And what Stacy's talking about is in the membership, I bring in speakers that are kicking it in the creative industry that they are selling in. They just come in and share their knowledge, and you get to meet and chat with them person to person. It is just a feel good moment, or a moment where you think, oh, this is something I'm going to plug into my side hustle or my business or my artwork. It's always good to see you there, Stacy.
Oh,
So let's take a look at confidence. I think that creativity, it doesn't matter how talented an artist is, when you are lacking in confidence or when you have confidence, it is a game changer in what happens with your art or the goals you're trying to achieve. Answer this question for me, Stacy. Cultivating creativity, how has it influenced the confidence you've had towards tackling challenges? Like, how have you seen confidence affect the way that you create your art?
I think being confident, it was easier when I was younger. I felt more confident. And then I went through my little phase and I'm feeling more confident, getting like some responses from people. You have to get your work out there in order to get anything done, right?
Yeah.
If you're not confident, like you're not going to see your stuff out in the world, which is so much fun. Like confidence is hard, but you just do it. To me, you get on that horse and just put it out there.
Yes. Yes. Absolutely.
You just have to get it out. And if I didn't do it, I wouldn't have seen my stuff in Target or Hallmark or Walmart, CVS, like everywhere, like all the fun stores. And then what happens to you too? You get all these big boxes of stuff sent to you.
Yes. It's so exciting.
Christmas morning, everything.
It is. It's just like Christmas when you see your work in a store or you get samples sent to your door. That never gets old. Never gets old.
So fun. Yeah, being confident, I think you just have to just get over that mountain, right?
Mhm.
Sometimes it might be a little harder to do it.
Yes.
Sometimes it might.
It's a cyclical thing. So you have to be consistent with your art, and then you have to be consistent with getting your art out there, and then consistent with making more art and getting your art out there.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing now. Sometimes I'll be like looking at something, I'm like, oh, I don't know. I could tweak it here, tweak it there, tweak it every which way. But then I'll look at it, I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna do it. That's a just release. Get
Yep.
it out. Get
E
it out.
plus work is A-okay.
figured it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody struggles with confidence, right?
Oh, that absolutely. Of all, I have yet to find a student that has come to learn the art of Procreate or come to one of my workshops that hasn't talked about where they feel unconfident.
Yeah.
And I have seen this in artists that have come to me, and I look at their work and I think, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then I hear them, I don't know, I don't think it's ready yet, or I don't know who to send it to. I don't think they'll like that. These colors are wrong, or it's not finished yet. So many reasons why work isn't ready to get released yet.
Yeah.
And so much of the reason art's not released is a confidence thing. Yeah.
Yeah. And but being part of the group is good. I think that helps a lot with confidence, like with your confidence.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
um,
When you're in a group, we often share our artwork. And when you hear the comments from your peers talking of your artwork, I think that does make you say, oh, maybe this is ready. Maybe it is time to go find the place, the audience, the client, the licensor, the agent that might want to represent my work, buy my work, license my work.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about the exciting thing that happened to you this summer with Cruise and Associates.
Yes, that was very fun. Yeah, we met Sarah in during one of your masterminds, which was so much fun. And so I like I did this 75-day project and I have all this artwork. But of course, I do not have a website anymore. I still have my old portfolio that I used to take in and show my work.
Oh,
It's still like immaculately perfect, ready to show. But I needed to update a portfolio. So then I took a portfolio class, learn how to InDesign. And I'm like, before I start sending this out, I want to send this out to Sarah, to Susan Cruz and Associates. And I sent it out to them. I had a nice interview with Sarah, which was so much fun. We had a lot in common. She actually lived in Ohio for a while. She knew a lot of the stomping grounds where I live. And yeah, so now I'm giving them artwork for them to license. It's been fun. And I like it because I think that was one of my problems. We talked about this before. I had issues like, oh, what should I do? What project should I do? I think I've always worked under somebody, we're looking for birthday, or we're looking for Valentine's Day, or we're looking for this, that, or the other thing. And then you have maybe trend sheets or something. And even though I was trying to keep up with color trends and design trends, it was hard for me. I'd like somebody telling me give me ideas what to do.
yeah.
I work much better that way. So I'm really happy because we get these art calls. I'll submit artwork. I try to submit a few pieces of art every week to see. Hopefully, it's only been a few months, and I know that's the problem with licensing, and everybody should understand that it does take time. Like when I first started, it was a lot easier, but as I progressed through the years, oh no, we have to see what this is going to look like. We have to get approval from this client or that client or this or that, or see what it's going to look like in their planogram and everything. But now I know it could take 6 months to a year to end up getting something licensed. Even though we have Procreate and we can design something really quickly,
Yeah.
it's not that way in real life. There's no instant gratification, I guess I should say. Patience is a virtue with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're right. It's a consistency and it's a time thing. The more that you upload to the site, the more artwork their clients will see. And it only takes that one place where someone will land on things, and then suddenly you become their favorite artist and they want you to come back and do more of what you did last year or another fabric design, or the repeats will happen and you'll get busier. It just takes a little bit of time to get your traction.
And I know that from the past. So
Mm.
yeah, but it ends up it'll work out in the long run, I think. And
Absolutely. I'm
I
very
know it'll
excited.
work out in the long run, I should say. My
Yes.
power of positive thinking.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So I'm really excited to see what will happen with your portfolio with Cruise and Associates. So congratulations with that.
Thank you. I'm very excited. I'm very excited.
So let's talk a little bit about advice that you might have for other creatives. Let's say a creative that might be where you were when you suddenly felt that slump. What's your advice?
Um, I think taking the break is good. It was, I will say it was a little painful for me at the time, but overall, as just getting back on that, get back on that horse and keep moving. Draw a little bit every day. That's what I've been trying to do now, especially consistency, which we talked about,
Yeah.
and being positive and patient is also a good thing. And learning new things. That makes your brain get out of your funk too. I
Yeah.
got me out of my funk. It's
Yes.
like this boom, got like so much better and so much happier. And now I have to set timers when I'm working because I might have to be somewhere, I have to do something or make dinner. I'm like, oh, I got to make dinner. So I set my timer because I'll be on my iPad drawing and I'll get so involved.
Yeah.
That's good advice. Set timers for yourself.
Good idea.
Just being kind to yourself.
If you're feeling that slump right now, it's okay to take a break. It's okay to go find something else that might be filling a need and allow your to heal a little bit where you feel burned out.
I mean, it's
But
just like an
yeah,
athlete might
yeah,
get into it a little bit, might be tired. You got to take a break, get that drink of water, get that burst of energy back.
yeah,
I think there's days that's just like, oh, I don't feel like, I'm like, yeah, I'll get my iPad, I'll jog like a couple lines or squiggly, or I'll have my one of my 800 sketchbooks and like just draw something in it. Or I'll go through a magazine and look for ideas or Pinterest. Just trying to keep my mind into the whole groove of everything.
yeah,
I think I have a sketchbook in almost every room of my house. Even by my bed, I have a little pad of paper in case I wake up in the middle of the night.
yeah.
Or I'll text myself stuff too. I'm like,
I
I text
do.
an idea to myself.
I do that too. I come up with podcast ideas. So yes, having little notebooks, sketchbooks all over the place is important.
I feel
Yeah.
like a little, squirrel with my nuts stashed everywhere.
So those are some really great points that you've brought up. And I know when you were writing to me, you had written down be positive and patient. I love that note because giving yourself patience, that's that grace that you need. So you don't have to be perfect every day. And burnout or a slump is a serious thing that you need to take care of. But then to stay positive, look at the goodness that you have, the blessings you have, the strength you have from whatever it is that you are going to step away from for a little bit. And that it is okay to come back to it. Because that's what we've seen in you. You really walked away for a while and then you felt it calling you back home and you came back home.
I'm drawing snowmen and Christmas trees again. A lot of snowmen and Christmas. No.
Yeah.
No.
Your artwork should not be hidden under a bushel basket. It needs to have that light out there. Your artwork is beautiful. And I am so excited that you are doing so well with it right now.
You're a very good cheerleader. Thank you.
Tell us, what are you working on right now? And how can people find you and follow you, Stacy?
Well, I'm working on Christmas stuff. You know, but I have my sketchbooks. So I'll take like my little sketch. I'll just take whatever, like marker. My favorite thing really to sketch on besides my sketchbooks are like graph paper. Got a Sharpie. I'll just, idea. Take a picture of it, scan it into my iPad. I want to learn how, I want to get better at lettering. I know hand lettering is a huge thing right now.
Uh-huh.
So those are two things that I want to focus on.
Good. It's always good to have what you want to learn next in your head. Where do you want to go? What might that be? 2025 is just around the corner. I love that you already have that list made. Yeah.
Yeah, and winter's coming. I feel like I always have more time in the winter. The days are shorter, but and it's just cold and miserable. I'm like, I don't need to do that today. I don't need to go out today. In the summer, I feel like I'm like, oh, let's go like on walks and everything. I take my breaks, obviously, but yeah,
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
winter's a good month to.
Yeah. We do the same thing in the summertime, 7 o'clock, we're still out biking. But in the wintertime, it's too dark. It's too cold. So it's a great time to be indoors and doing a little more drawing, doing a little more anything that's creative and taking advantage of maybe all those photos that you took while you were out doing summer things. So do those drawings now. Get caught
Yeah.
up.
Yes,
Great
exactly.
idea. So, Stacy, how can we follow you on socials? Where are you?
My biggest one that I probably post the most at would be Instagram.
Mhm.
Instagram's easy. I am on Facebook, but I don't really go on Facebook that often. But Instagram seems to be my favorite thing. And I'm also on LinkedIn.
LinkedIn,
I was
yeah.
trying to figure that out. I'm like, I go in, I get notifications, I look, but yeah, I am on LinkedIn. And it is under Anastasia 5.0 on Instagram. It's
Okay. Yes, that will be in the show notes, everyone. So you can go and take a look at some of Stacy's beautiful work. I think you'll enjoy it. So, Stacy, this has been such a nice chat. Thank you so much for coming in and sharing about your creativity today. I think it's so helpful to meet other creatives and find out a little bit about their world. And Stacy, did you tell us where you live? I'm not sure you did. Tell us.
oh, I'm
Yeah,
in
yeah,
Cleveland, yeah. But yeah, Cleveland, Ohio,
yeah.
by John Carroll University. If
Nice.
anybody knows anything about that, yeah. It's where I'm a East Sider.
An
There's
East
east and west side of Cleveland, which is interesting because the West Siders don't like to go east, but the East Siders will go west.
Side.
All of it is a river. It's really funny. It's really funny. Yeah. But yeah.
That is hilarious. Yeah. No, everyone has their little eccentricities about a city, about where you would go or where you wouldn't go.
I know. It is funny. Yeah.
It's just how you set up a personality for the area that you live in. Yeah. So, Stacey, thank you so much for coming today. I think people are going to learn so much about their creativity, where they are in their journey with their creativity, and find some good inspirational events that they're going to be able to feel some camaraderie with or learn from and say, oh my gosh, I am in the same place that Stacey was in. And here's what I think I'm going to do next. So, thank you so much for sharing all of that goodness. And if you're interested in anything about the Create Today community, come and meet Stacy at one of the masterminds because she's part of the membership we have. So thank you so much, Stacy. You're a sweetheart.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for everything, Beth. You're the best.
Ah, you're so sweet. So, no matter where you are in your creativity today, I hope that everyone will find a moment to do a little drawing or do something creative for yourself and stay positive and always stay creative, my friend. We'll see you again next time. Bye bye. And now let's take a little break from our sponsor. And as you know, that would be me. If you loved today's creative conversation and you're craving to discover your own Procreate knowledge, consider learning more about this powerful illustration software, Procreate. Inside Create Today, you are going to find tutorials, guides, and online courses that will perfectly fit where you should go next with your Procreate adventure. If you really want to understand Procreate, register today for Learn the Art of Procreate. Inside my online course, you will enjoy fun and easy to learn lessons. You'll learn Procreate from the basic tools to the advanced techniques. And if you'd like to not only learn Procreate, but also figure out how you can harness all this digital knowledge to move forward with your creative business or a creative side hustle, consider joining the Create Today membership. Inside the membership, you'll be able to map your next best step to the goals that will take you to your chosen creative destination. And if you're not sure what your next right step should be, consider setting up a free consultation with me, and we can determine the resources that would be best for the season of creativity that you're in right now. Are you ready to make your next right step? Go to www.bdi-create.today and you can find the resources, the workshops, the tutorials, the online courses, or the consultation that you need to set your creativity on fire, whatever or wherever you decide to proceed with your creativity. Just remember to stay creative, my friend.